And all right, cool. Welcome to Chilling with c.bo, guys. I am your host, c.bo. And yeah, this is the first podcast of 2021. We were gone for a little bit, but now we're back. It's January 15th, so that exactly half into 2021. We were back. We needed a little break, get the juices running, flowing again. But witness what 2021 has to offer for a little bit. But now we're back. Juan, how you doing? My co-host, how you doing, man?
Not bad, not bad. Just enjoying some really, really good homemade ramen, special made by the moms.
Nice.
And being a pig about it.
Nice. Pedro, how about you, dude?
Doing well. I started school on Tuesday, eating some spicy ass ramen while drinking some awesome Coke.
Nice. Cap Jack, how you doing, man?
Doing good, bud. I'm sitting here eating some spicy ramen and sipping on OJ. No, I'm just drinking OJ. I wish I had ramen. It sounds really tasty. It'd be fun if we all had. It would be funny if the three of us were just so happened to all be hanging out together at the same time eating ramen, and we're like, oh shit, we had a podcast to do, right? Let's all pretend like we're in different parts of New Jersey, and no one will know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I guess before we talk about our movie of the week and all that, I guess I just want to ask, how's 2021 been treating you so far? I guess I'll start with Juan.
2021's been good, I guess I could say. Aside from, the riot at the Capitol, aside from the whole impeachment part 2 happening.
It's crazy how all that is happening as soon as we hit the new year. Like,
it's funny. This time last year, there was threat of World War III because of the American army killing a top Iraqi official. So yeah, not that far off.
We go from threat of World War III, then coronavirus happens, then coronavirus is still happening, and all that we went through this past year, and riot at the Capitol, and impeachment part 2, like Juan said.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And we have a new president coming up too.
Yeah, Mr. Joe Biden.
Yes,
I'm really excited for that. But in any case, outside of all that, it's been pretty good. I got NFL playoffs to keep me going. I've been working on videos nonstop, and I've gotten a few leads on some job stuff. I got a private reference from a professor who has contacts at Fox News for a writing position. So hopefully that pans out. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. I hope that pans out, man.
Same here.
All right, Pedro. How's 2021 been for you so far, man?
2021 for me has been. How do I put this? It's giving me heart palpitations.
Damn.
Like, I'm so nervous for this weekend because they said they're going to storm all the capitals in all the states. And right now, Washington is shut down. Is more locked down than Fort Knox.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, there's some lockdowns going on right now.
I think it's 15,000 troops. That's 3 times the amount of troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, and another country I can't remember put together.
Now imagine they had that when the riot was actually happening.
They say it was an inside job, which I totally believe because Republicans are assholes like that.
It's one big thing that we can talk about for ages, and unfortunately the year just started, so this is probably going to be a back burner thing by the time December 2021 starts.
Yeah. But yeah, my only comfort is that Trump is losing his mind. Like, he's so alone and isolated. Like, I've heard news reports that people are comparing him to Nixon and that they say Nixon was a better president than him. Nixon, the criminal president, better than Donald Trump. Because he at least knew he was losing. But now, and with this president, it's like it's like he's hypnotizing himself into believing he's a winner when in fact he's just a big, fat, orange Oompa Loompa loser.
You know what's you don't see Futurama, right?
Nah, I haven't seen Futurama.
You ever see Futurama? Jack, have you seen Futurama?
Yes, I have.
All right. So Donald Trump is essentially what Richard Nixon in that show became.
That reminds me of the like the king in Jar Jar Binks' planet Naboo. You know, the king Grungan. He's like,
Yeah,
Jar
pretty much.
Jar.
Then I'll break into people's houses and watch them sleep and tear up the place. Is what Richard Nixon sounds like in Futurama.
Pablo, I'm gonna use a fork.
That's fine. Be a wimp who doesn't know how to use chopsticks. It's okay.
It's so rude. You're calling him out in an audio-based podcast. No one would have known. No one would have known, and now everyone knows.
Everyone knows now.
Yes. And you know what? That's just the kind of guy I am, with c.bo looking like a duck inside of a turtleneck with that tracksuit looking mother thing. And then Jack, I can't even see you, but I assume the OJ is just filled up to the brim with pulp.
It is now empty.
Oh.
So Jack, how are you, man?
I'm
in 2021 so far.
It's a slow start. My anxieties have not gone anywhere. They're still here. They're ready to thrive in 2021, I'm sure. But we'll figure it out one day at a time. So, I mean, yeah, I thought I'd have more to say, but no, not really. It's just trying to not be so high strung and wound up. Just trying to relax a little bit, and trying to not look at the fireball that is this country too close.
Yeah. As for me, my 2021 so far is like, it's been pretty slow for me as well, but like in a different way, where it's like outside of work and stuff, I haven't really been doing much. Just kind of watching some shows and just chilling. But I plan to be more productive once next week starts. Because my New Year's resolution was to be more organized. I haven't gotten around to that yet, but I will. It's still a young year.
Yes, it is.
All
Doesn't
right.
feel like it. Feel like we
We
too
have
many things happen
350
already.
days left. This is day 15.
Have you seen those memes of people being like, "Nice try, December 42nd, 2020"? That's definitely what this feels like.
To be fair, I think we're still in March 2020. To be honest, like whenever it turns into April 2020, let me know.
Could you imagine if everyone woke up like at the same time tomorrow, and it turned out to be June of 2020? It's like it's still going.
It's a simulation, man. We're all in the Matrix. There's wires running up our spine and in the back of our head, and we're in some naked in some goo with robots controlling us, giving us simulations.
Do you know they were supposed to not be used as batteries? They were supposed to be used as like a network, but for whatever reason, the writers changed it to be batteries. It makes so much more sense if we just used our brains as an internet rather than a power source. But that's beside the point. It's just a fun fact.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Matrix.
Wake up, Juan. Wake up, Pedro. Wake up. Wake up.
Nah, I like living in a simulation. I have food here, and it tastes so good.
You don't want to be like when they wake up and they're all like just like dirty and ragged, living on a ship in some future hellscape.
And having some crazy like dance orgies and whatever.
Oh yeah, that was
like
insane.
The cave rave.
God, I can't wait for Matrix 4, man. Hope we get more of that.
I can't wait to have my
So, speaking of Keanu Reeves, like Pedro and I saw that football movie, The Replacements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it just so happens, like I've been putting it off for so long to watch it. It's the one football movie I've never seen. And then my parents just so happened to have gotten me. I don't know has anyone here seen The Replacements?
No.
Wait, Jack, you have?
Yeah.
So, my parents got me a Shane Falco jersey for Christmas.
Okay.
and I finally had an excuse to break it out. And oh my god, such a weird but heartwarming movie. But me being the football dude y'all know and love, I kept saying that's offsides. That's personal foul. That's the wrong coverage to run in the end zone. What are you doing?
Wait,
Where's the
wait,
timeout?
wow. Let me.
Worst.
Have you seen Friday Night Lights, the show?
No,
Oh, that's on Peacock.
What?
That's your streaming service.
not too many things on my thing right now.
I feel like you would love it though. I haven't seen it yet, but I do want
Out
to
of
see it.
out of all of the shows you haven't seen though,
The show about football, the thing
The-
you love.
the really good show about football that everyone
look, I get that, but at the same time, fictional shows about football, I get lost in them. You know, like in regards to, I don't really fall for the whole theatrics of it.
What about the show? Or
But
that
have
movie
you
about
seen? Sorry, Pedro. Go ahead.
What about the show about that football team and the icicles shoved up that guy's ass?
What?
Oh, that's Blue Mountain State.
Oh god.
Man, what
I
a
saw
what a way
that
to
was
reference
a
that
wild
show, though.
show. That was
That I've seen clips online. The only clip that really stood out to me was when this one girl was trying to get pregnant by the star quarterback, but one of the linebackers of the team didn't allow it. He took the condom that the girl was going to use, poured beer into it, and exposed all the holes that she poked in the condom.
Get off my quarterback!
Jesus Christ. Oh, have you seen Varsity Blues? I think that's a really good movie.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah,
I hope you're writing these down.
I mean, I don't have pen and paper and my hands full with this apple. So, if you want, text me over the names and I'll write it down on a list.
All right. Speaking of films and stuff, we watched the movie for this week. It came out on Christmas Day for Disney Plus, and it was Soul, the Pixar movie, starring Jamie Foxx as a jazz musician who dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and he goes on a spiritual journey to see what his life is all about and the meaning of it all. So I guess I'll start off with Jack. Jack, you had some issues getting a Disney Plus account, but did you watch Soul?
Not really. I bit the bullet and I made a Disney Plus account. Apparently they're not doing free trials anymore, which is stupid. But, Disney needs money, I guess. So I signed up for a month and I watched it last night when I came home and I cried. I cried a lot. And I'm not ashamed of it. Yeah, I cried a lot. It was this movie hit a chord, and it might have just been the way that I was feeling last night, but oh man, it was really nice. I freaking love the music. I wish there was. So, I don't want to talk too much about the story. I want to talk about I personally want to just talk about more aspects of things that I noticed in the movie. Like, I really wish there was more music. I thought going into this movie, there would be more music in it than there actually was. Like, there were some great musical moments and everything, but I wanted more jazz. I love jazz. I need more jazz in my life. I'm like Barry B. Benson. I need some jazz. I wanted to talk about how incredible the animation was and how short this movie is. This movie is an hour and 49 minutes with maybe 15 of those minutes being credits. So this movie's an hour and a half. I want to watch it 2 more times. Like, I had an there were times, granted, where this movie did feel a little fast-paced, and unlike other Disney movies, this didn't have a real villain to it. It was just like a character. It was just one long character development.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was such a heartwarming, message about life and the things that you do with your life and the people that you spend your life with, and it fucking I don't know. It just played at my heartstrings, and I loved all all the new departments that they brought in to do animation and stuff. They had a whole credits section dedicated to the one program that they used to simulate sweat on their faces when they were getting really into the jazz numbers and stuff, like during that montage towards the third act of the movie. And just seeing the expansion of the technologies that are implemented in Pixar movies is so satisfying to see, because we're now reaching these moments of we're able to properly simulate a lot of things and make them feel like, picture them the way that we truly want to picture them. And it's incredible to see. And I loved the caricature style of the people in the world. Like, it was set in New York, but everyone had a very funny caricature style to them. That's a little bit of Pixar and a little bit of those abstract jazz poster kind of looks to them. Like, the proportions are very curvy and rounded. And what else? I mean, this movie was beautiful to watch. It was a great time. It was a short time, and I guess that could be a
Here for a
metaphor
good
for
time,
life.
not a long
Yeah,
time.
exactly. And I thought I enjoyed the message of this movie, and I'm probably gonna use this Disney Plus account now for the rest of the month to probably just rewatch it a couple times, so that
Or you can watch The Mandalorian. Oh, who said that? Whoa.
I could binge
No
watch too.
excuse, Jack. No excuse.
You're right. I don't have an excuse now. I have till February 15th, I guess, to watch The Mandalorian, all of
You
it.
can make it. You can make it.
That's a short show as well. Speaking of short, yeah, Mandalorian's so short.
We're not talking about The Mandalorian. We're talking about Soul.
Yes, but how about you, Juan? What were your thoughts on this movie?
I think the one thing that really stood out to me about this movie was when I did a little research into it. And apparently the guy who made the movie said that it was just coming off of having made Inside Out. And he's like, okay, I just did a movie exploring if feelings had feelings. Now, how much more can I do? What else can I pull off? What has my life amounted to? You know? Where am I in this point in my life? And then he started having kind of a midlife crisis about who he was and what he had accomplished and what his passions are. And it led him to say, okay, what if we do a movie that shows that passion and drive is great, but it is also a deprivation of what life is really supposed to be, which is enjoying the little things that you take for granted every single day, like being able to take deep breaths, being able to swallow without your throat hurting like crazy, being able to look at all the different colors that you see, feel the wind on your face, all that kind of good stuff. And that's what, for me, this movie is. It's a reminder to a lot of people who are so career-driven, who are so passion-driven, that they often forget to just stop for just a minute and look around them and see that, life is great. Life is fun. Life is something to enjoy slowly instead of trying to take it all in at once. And
it kind of hits us we're all trying to make it, and it's like we're all trying to further ourselves in our career, and sometimes we can, like you said, we need to stop and smell the roses once in a while.
Exactly. And that's exactly what this movie does such a good job of doing. It low key makes us feel guilty for not just stopping for maybe a minute in a day every day to appreciate all the little things that we are enjoying that probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world aren't able to.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main message of the movie is appreciate what you have, because you never know how long you're gonna have it for.
Yeah. Pedro, what's up, dude?
All right. So, I'll be honest, I didn't cry for this movie and didn't get over emotional about it. I just saw it for what it was. A good movie that taught people the importance of stopping to literally smell the roses, look at the sky, enjoy pizza, which I'm always down with. But also, I realize how it's important to live life, but that's not the world we live in today. In this day, in our modern era, if you're not driven, you're not going anywhere in life, career wise. And everyone, and that's a fact. But what I do appreciate is that this movie tells us that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to, to commit to other things, as long as we don't lose ourselves along the way. Because remember what happened to 22?
What? Oh yeah, 22, the soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember she turned to the giant monster?
Yes, because she became lost.
Yeah. Just like that guy who was a stockbroker trader. He was lost. He had to trade. And then they woke him up. Then he quit his job. Now, morally that would be acceptable, but practically, dude, you just got fired. What the fuck are you gonna do now? All in all, it was a good movie, and it did teach me that. It did help me. It did teach me. Well, not teach. It helped reiterate something my dad once told me, that no matter how bad things look, the sun always rises the next day. And the way they relate to that is that no matter what, you gotta learn to live life and to move on. To that, you can't just focus everything in your every part of your life to one thing. You gotta stretch out. You gotta be more, and that's what this movie taught me.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I really enjoyed it. Pixar's interpretation of like the afterworld and like souls being lost is like really profound for a movie, for a studio that makes movies aimed towards children, but sneakily they put stuff in there for the adults, where if we take our little niece or nephew to the movie, we sit back, we're like, I'm watching this dumb kids movie, and then you see all these themes and we're like, oh shit, what the hell did I walk into? And and the kids could be like, they can enjoy the talking cat and stuff like that, and just smile. And while we're all weeping, thinking about our lives being existential, and and then our our little niece or nephew is like questioning, like why the hell is this guy crying? What a loser. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and it's like I really liked how at first when I watched this movie, I was kind of like, when it ended, I'm like, whoa, that's it. But then I'm like, but then when I've thought about it, the more and more I've seen it, I haven't seen it since I saw it literally Christmas Day, but like the more I thought about it, I'm like, this is a movie about saying that there is no definite answers in life, and we don't know how. What's the main character's name? Jamie Foxx.
What?
Wow, did we all forget
Gardner.
Joe Gardner.
Joe Gardner.
Okay, yeah. So Jamie Foxx, we don't know how he's gonna live his life. But
why? You asked for the character's name and they go, right, Jamie Foxx.
we don't know how anyone's gonna live their lives, but because it's all just an open book that is ready to be written every day, and we hope that he's gonna learn his lesson from the first time in his life, where he constantly was just going for one thing and he alienated everything and everyone in his life. Everything was just half-assed to him, and now it's just like, with the experience he went through with 22 and being almost going into heaven and all that, and then spending time as a soul, then coming back into earth and as a cat, seeing how other people see him. We hope to see that he lives his life and in a better way. Maybe he becomes a teacher and helps other people, or maybe he quits being a teacher and does another thing. Yeah. So yeah,
There's this one line. There's this one thing I like that I realized that when the souls are looking not for a reason to live, but for like something that inspires them to want to live. I guess it's what makes sense. Like, it's not a passion that you should be looking for um to live life. It's just realizing that there's experiences that are so small but enjoyable that you want to be a part of, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, passion can't be everything that you live for. There has to be more to it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I've it's funny because like I've always been a guy that kind of just smells the roses, and the movie kind of reaffirmed that it was okay to do that. I'm like, nice Pixar, you're thinking like I am. Do we have any more thoughts on Soul? Any more further thoughts?
You remember all those souls and like what their personalities were?
Yeah.
I'm an obsessive egomaniac with unnatural inhibitions or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a handful.
I got another thing. That one Nick's joke, wow, that was genius.
Oh,
like
yeah. The Knicks joke.
I like to mess with this team every once in a while.
Jesus Christ.
So
I guess 22 has been messing with the Knicks the whole time. That's why they've been so underwhelming the last like 30 years.
Well, maybe now finally they'll get their act together.
I guess the Souls are like crap. They know we gotta make the Knicks good now.
But I really loved a lot of the concept of it being the afterlife is run by quantum like mathematical vibrations, and they're all named Jerry.
What's Terry?
And one's Terry, and he does the number. He counts everyone.
He's the accountant.
Yeah, but yes. Well, anyway, the design of those characters I thought was it was so unique and like just I couldn't stop watching them. Like I wanted them to be on screen more.
Yeah,
the way
that
they
were like 2D and like 3D. It was so crazy.
And they definitely look a lot like the impressionist jazz art that I was kind of referencing before, because they're all like one line, and they look like people, and they have the dimensions of a person, but at the same time, like their faces are they look like they're made of one continuous line, and it looks
maybe
really
that was Joe's interpretation of all that was going on, and that's how he saw things.
True, maybe.
Because they say like our personal heavens is what we interpret, what we want,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what was Joe's interpretation.
I also loved the little fact that there's people that go into meditation and pull people out of their anxieties and depression, and they meet oh god, what's his name? The sign twirling guy.
Moon something.
Moonwind.
That guy was amazing. I want to be Moonwind and learn how to spin signs and be chill.
I really like the music in the Afterworld too. It was
my god.
It was like so like it was like kind of synthy and like lo-fi. Mm-hmm. And then when it went back to Earth, it was jazzy. So I'm like, what a crazy contrast. Like,
I also love how well rendered New York was. Like there was not a doubt, like a time when I was watching that I didn't feel like it wasn't New York in any way.
It was Pixar. It's insane.
And that goes like the credits that of what I was saying before of like all the departments that are now being put in, like all the texture people that went to work on making the subways look dirty and gross as shit. And did you guys see Pizza Rat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pizza Rat was hilarious to see. And watching just him, like the crowds of people, and how I wonder how much freaking time it took to, generate and render out like a New York City crowd, which is, you know, when before 2020 was you couldn't even like breathe half the time. It was so crowded. And I just think like they did a really incredible job with rendering and bringing back the New York that I miss. I miss that New York.
Yeah,
we all do.
definitely.
You know what?
We'll
You know
get
what's
it back before we die. Don't worry.
you know what's something that a movie critic pointed out that I thought was interesting. The way that they were able to animate the hair of a lot of like the black people in this movie.
Yeah,
Because black people hair is just so hard to animate because of the different curls and styles and
texture.
movements that the texture exactly. And that this new form of technology that they advanced to was able to get the detail of every strand of hair down to a T.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was an afro, whether it was a dread, whether it was like, you know, even a bald spot or just like a fade or a cut or anything like that. It was perfectly done.
Like the main character's hair too.
Exactly. And like I think what I'm about to say is, you know, good credit to Pixar for being able to get such a good and important detail, not just in like, you know, overall animation, but in black culture too, because hair is such an important part of black culture. You have like Chris Rock made a whole movie about it where he was breaking down like the history of like styling and hair and all the different products and the way that some black people use hair to kind of express themselves as individuals within the culture.
What movie was that?
I think it's Haircut or Hair Salon or something.
No, Hair Love.
Hair Love, yeah.
Yeah.
This is my first time hearing about this movie.
It's on YouTube.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's
I think Sony did it. Yeah.
Well, gonna definitely watch that then.
All right. So it looks like we all really enjoyed Soul, and I guess where I'm gonna go to next is Pixar has so far 3 different movies coming up in the docket. One is called Luca, which is about a kid spends a summer in Italy, and it's a coming of age story, and he befriends a local Italian it's a summer filled with gelato, pasta, and endless scooter rides. And there's apparently a big secret, and that there's sea monsters from another world under the water surface.
Is this a remake of something?
Yeah, it sounds like Call Me by Your Name.
No. Damn it!
Really?
That's not what I meant. But I love it. I meant like, have I heard of this story before? But now I just want. that one really got me, because maybe this time Call Me by Your Name didn't win anything, right?
No, but it was nominated for a lot of stuff.
Well, maybe this time around it'll win something with its new Pixar adaptation.
And then that one's gonna come out in June 2021. So this year, as of right now, it'll probably get delayed, but you know, whatever. And then for spring 2022, there's a movie called Turning Red, where Mei Lee is a dorky 13-year-old torn between staying her mother's dutiful daughter or the chaos of adolescence. So it's like a puberty movie, and is, you know, whenever she gets too excited, she poofs into a giant red panda. So she turns into a giant red panda whenever she gets too excited as a teenager. So there's probably gonna be a lot of emotional stuff about that too when it comes to the adolescent experience. So Pixar tackling adolescence, that's pretty cool. And then the last one scheduled so far is coming out in summer 2022, and it's the Buzz Lightyear origin story, where it's about the test pilot who inspires the creation of Buzz Lightyear. So it's gonna be like a space movie.
Isn't that with real people though?
Yeah, it's gonna be about, but yeah, it's Pixar though, so it's animation. Yeah, and Chris Evans is voicing the guy who inspired the creation of Buzz Lightyear.
Wait, it's animation?
Yeah.
What? I thought it was
domination.
Well, I thought it was gonna be like a Apollo 13 kind of movie.
No, it's still Pixar.
Wow.
So which one are you most excited for, guys? Luca, Turning Red, or Lightyear?
I'd say Luca. I'd say not Luca. Sorry, I mean I'd say Turning Red.
I would be lying if I didn't. I would be lying if I didn't say I'm excited to see all of them.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very curious about Lightyear because I do like space and sci-fi, so I'm like, But I'm sure Turning Red and Luca are gonna get us in our feels, and they're gonna, punch us with some like, existential stuff that we'll be crying about while our young siblings or nieces are just laughing at us.
Did your niece?
We'll figure it out.
Did your niece?
They'll figure it
laugh
out.
at
They'll
you,
figure it
c.bo?
out in 10 years, but
Wait, did your niece laugh at you, c.bo? Do you have a niece?
No. But I'm just saying, like, because I don't know if kids will fully get Soul when they watch it, right now, Like, can is a 5-year-old is Soul gonna hit a 5-year-old? That, like, I've heard a lot of people say that, like, yeah, like they'll like it. I'm sure they will. If I'm just saying.
I would hope this movie doesn't hit my 5-year-old. That would hurt. I would have to sue.
Yeah. So.
Wow. You just say it's a bad joke and move on, I guess.
I mean, the silence
If we
says it all.
acknowledged it, then we already lose.
Damn.
So where would you like to see Pixar go in the 2020s beyond these 3 movies that are currently scheduled?
I don't know.
Like, how's a Pixar movie gonna look in 2029? Like,
I would think the only thing that improves is just the amount of time it takes for them to make the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like now the more engines that come out that they're able to simulate things, and the more they're able to do automatically, the quicker they'll be able to come out with movies. So if anything, I feel like Pixar movies are going to get to a point where we'll start seeing it feels like we could feasibly get more than 4 a year at some point.
Not to mention, there's only so many stories you can tell. I mean, technically, Soul is a Cars remake, if you really think about it.
I do not agree with that statement in any way, shape, nor form. Good Lord.
How is it a
No.
Cars remake? What the?
Because
You have to sit down, Juan, sit down and explain your hypothesis of how Cars and this movie are somehow the same story.
I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but they do have kind of the same theme here. Slow down and enjoy the world around you, and don't get too engulfed in the passion you're pursuing. In Joe's case, it was to be a musician. In Lightning McQueen's case, it was to become rich and famous and have the Dynaco brand.
Oh, he kind of has a point, man.
Ah!
Jack is stunned.
I'm not stunned. I just don't think I don't really agree, because I feel like this story is not just about Joe. It's not just about Joe slowing down. It's also about 22 and finding her reason as to why why everyone's so excited to go start living, and like, what's the real draw of it. And
I never said that both movies were exactly the same in terms of approach and character narrative, but it did have the same message with regards to what it's about. Stop and smell the roses every once in a while. It's essentially what both movies were trying to say. Except, Lightning McQueen had Mater to guide him into appreciating life, while Joe was more of a self-guide, as well as teaching another person what is it that life is worth appreciating for. He was his own Mater. It's like, yeah, that's basically it.
You should like do a whole hypothesis on that, like write a whole paper on why Cars and Soul are the same thing.
Does it have to be MLA format?
In this essay,
yes, it has to be LMA format, and you need at least 10 sources.
Not Chicago format.
Chicago.
Get Chicago format out of here. There's at least one professor that follows that guideline, and they're the worst. They're the worst kind of person. We all know who that professor is.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, listening to our podcast.
And if you're listening, you jackal, I hope you're suffering in whatever chair you're slumping in.
Yeah.
But we're trying to keep our audience, not drive them away. So
Yeah, I just hope. Like in terms of where I want Pixar to go, I just hope they keep experimenting because I feel like after Toy Story 3, like when that came out in 2010, they've just been experimenting. Like it's been on just like they do a Brave, they do Inside Out, they do two cars.
Coco. They did Coco.
Yeah, they do.
What a
Yeah,
beautiful movie.
yeah.
But I guess that's
I made that.
there's nothing that Pixar can do to push the envelope than they already have.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
sure.
just gotta keep building upon it. That's the thing. They just keep building. Yeah.
But
Everyone's got a story.
What else can you say? What else can be done?
They should do a horror movie.
Oh God.
What if they did a really silly horror movie?
Yeah, I'm down for that. Like, yeah.
Isn't kind of Wreck-It Ralph supposed to be like that?
That's not Pixar
No,
though. That's Disney. That's regular
Pixar
Disney animation. Regular that.
Isn't it? What?
I thought you were going to say Monsters Inc., but I did
No,
not expect you to say.
I mean, now that you think about it, Monsters Inc.
Did have elements of that.
And Wreck-It Ralph are kind of like the same movie in that aspect too. Because think about it, the true monster in that movie was Boo, because all the other monsters were afraid of her and what she was capable, just like everyone was afraid of Ralph in Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm gonna wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it. I like to imagine right now that Jack is struggling to try to hold his anger in to the fact that I'm ruining all his.
I just don't like comparing Cars to anything that's actually
it's okay.
good.
Jack, it's okay. I'll give you a hug tomorrow over Buffalo
Cars
Wild
1
Wings.
is good though. I haven't seen Cars 2 or 3 yet. I will get to those eventually.
Cars 1 is the top. Cars 2 sucked. Cars 3 is kind of in the middle.
I only want to see Cars 3 because they had that really dramatic trailer of Lightning McQueen crashing, and I just want to know, like, is that it? Is that the end of our Owen Wilson?
Wow.
Wow. That's what he said. That's what he says as he does like the 7 like rollovers. It's just like wow.
Wow. Catch out. Wow.
Catch wow.
Catch wow.
Good chicken.
Oh my God.
We could honestly just keep doing Owen Wilson for the next 2 hours if that's what you want this podcast to be.
Well, actually, there is something I want to ask. What are we watching next week?
Yes. All right. What are we watching next week? I have no idea.
There's one movie that I had in mind that I hear has been getting all the Academy Award claims, all the honors.
I think I know what you're talking about. Go ahead. Is it Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
No, but I hear that's good too. That's Chadwick Boseman's last performance before he passed away.
Yes, I would like to see that because he's getting some buzz too.
The one I was thinking was One Night in Miami.
That's on Amazon, right?
It is, and it's supposed to be like this great reunite. It's kind of like a meeting of minds back in the 1960s, where football legend Jim Brown, singing legend Barry White, I think it is, and then Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali all come together in Miami and just have a deep and intellectual conversation among the four of them about their impact on history and Black culture. And I think it looks great, and it's directed by Regina King. It's her first directorial debut.
Regina King.
She was in Watchmen, Pedro, the girl.
The series,
the main lead
series
in the series.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's a good actress. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's something I think would be awesome to watch.
I'm down for that.
I am also down for that. I'm gonna have to figure out the Amazon thing now, but I'll figure it out.
Because
I just want to point out that I'm the one that told Juan about it, so it's my credit.
No, I've known about it, Pedro. I've known about it, but you know what? We'll let you live with the assumption.
Why don't we have like a podcast account for all these streaming services? Why don't we all come together and just split all these streaming?
You have Amazon, right?
Yeah, but we kind of got locked out of it. It's a long story that I can't really get into, but essentially, Pedro and I do not have access to Prime at the moment, but we'll figure something out.
Why don't we do Chadwick Boseman then? That on Netflix since it's easier.
I can do that. That's fine.
All right. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
It'll have to be this weekend, Pablo.
Huh?
It'll have to be this weekend.
It's not going to be this weekend because it's divisional round weekend, bruh.
Uh-oh. Sport time.
All right.
We'll talk
Before we get into football, there's another thing that happened in 2021 that was insane and that changed the balance of a certain sport, and that is basketball. So two things happened. So my favorite team is the Brooklyn Nets, and they got, and in the offseason they got Kevin Durant. No, in the offseason of 2019 they got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Both of them pretty much did not play for their first year. Kyrie Irving only played 20 games. He got injured. He got surgery, and now this season, the season that just started, they started playing again, KD and Kyrie. And the first thing that happened was Kyrie pretty much went AWOL. We don't know where he's been the past week. He literally took games off for personal reasons, and we don't know what happened to him. No one knows. No one has the full details yet. But he was seen at a birthday party with his father and his sister, and then he was seen on a Zoom call with a district attorney in New York. So people were asking, where the hell have you been, man? And then in all the midst of that drama where Kyrie was just disappeared into nowhere, the Nets got James Harden, the beard, the man from the Houston Rockets that has been winning a lot of scoring titles and all that, and was the MVP in 2018. And they gave up a lot of picks and some key players in Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and some other players too but yeah. So the Nets have two MVP caliber players and one of the best guards in the league on their team. And as a Nets fan my whole life who has seen the ups and downs, this is absolutely insane. Insane. I don't know. It blew my mind when the James Harden news happened. Jack can attest to this. Me and a coworker of mine were just like arguing and ranting about whether this is good or not. But after a couple of days of thinking, I'm like, you know what? I dig this. Why not? Let's do it. We're putting all our chips in. We're going all the way. It's 2021. Why not? These guys are all still in their primes. KD, after suffering an Achilles injury, which not many athletes come back from, has come back, and he still looks like the KD that we all know and love, which is absolutely insane. And I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to win a championship, whether this year or next year. Juan, do you have any quick opinions about this?
You have no depth after that Harden trade.
Absolutely not.
How many players did you trade? 4 players? You traded 4 depth players. Along the side, the Houston also retooled and got Victor Oladipo from the Pacers.
Yeah.
Like, first off, I'm going to say it right now. Houston's the ultimate winner here. Honestly, they won this trade unequivocally. They scored a mother load of first-round picks. What, 4 first-round picks from you? From Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Along with Victor Oladipo from the Pacers and a bunch of future picks that are guaranteed. Not to mention, it take a lot of Harden's salary. Like they have to eat a bunch of Harden's salary, but he's a locker room catcher that's been expelled from there. Because let's be honest, James Harden's a dick.
He's not the best person.
He's not the best person to do parties in Houston nightclubs without a mask on and refuses to play in games just because he's not happy with the organization he built. The team was built in his image. He had all say in personnel and player moves, and he built it the way he wanted to. And now that it's not doing so well, he's not happy with it. He wants to be the one that leaves. What kind of excuse is that?
Yeah, it was a very, very messy situation, especially with the fact that he was out in like Vegas partying without a mask with little baby as well.
Yeah, and little baby got caught with a gun in the club.
Yeah. Very messy situation. And of course, on top of all the Kyrie stuff, which again, we don't know what's going on with him. He's coming. Apparently, he's coming back on Saturday if he tests negative, which I'm sure he will.
c.bo.
And I'm sure he will explain what happened. What do you think of the Kyrie drama?
I think Kyrie, there's this one segment from First Take that Stephen A said he believes that Kyrie should retire because ultimately it doesn't look like basketball is no longer a priority to him. Like he is still good at it, and he's still a wicked talent, but it just doesn't seem like he cares about the game anymore. He doesn't care enough to play. I mean, why did he leave? Why did he go? Like, this is Kyrie Irving. I know there must be something wrong with him in his head with regards to how he's thinking, and mental health is one thing, but to abandon your team like that early in the season, I get it. It's not too consequential, and you're trying to save your body or you're trying to enjoy life or whatever, but that was selfish. That was a selfish move by Kyrie. And honestly,
wait. Weren't we just talking about soul and how, you need to smell the roses for a little bit?
Yeah, but on the same time, can't you do that while on the court?
I was
you
kidding.
Can't enjoy
I know what you're talking about. I was kidding.
I know. But in any case, the fact that Kyrie abandoned his team the way he did, ultimate selfish. I wish he was part of the Houston deal. I wanted him out of Brooklyn because I don't think this is going to work whatsoever. You have two selfish, egomaniacal players in Harden and Irving on the court. Both are going to be. I get that Kyrie is a good passer and a good dribbler, knows how to create opportunities, and Harden's the ultimate shooter, and KD is just KD.
Yeah.
But there's too many personalities on the court. It's like when the Lakers brought in Dwight Howard and Steve Nash on top of having Kobe, and it didn't work.
I think this is different, though. I
don't know.
There's
no clear leader. You have no more depth on your bench, and you have an aging DeAndre Jordan who supposedly is your defense, and it's just not going to work out.
Yeah. The defense is practically non-existent. I will say, as someone who's been watching the games, and this is a very top-heavy roster. It's going to be interesting, but you know what? I'm a Nets fan for my whole life. I'm used to the team being a punching bag. And but you know what? We're the center of the NBA drama right now. And you know what? I've kind of embraced it. The Nets are kind of the villains. I kind of embraced it. We're not a likable team for likable personalities. But you know what? Bring it on. Let's get a ring. I love
your team. I love the Nets. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a great basketball team. I just hate the two top guys that are on there that don't think about anything but themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, Kyrie, even though he later recanted the statement, is a flat Earth believer.
Yeah,
dude, the moron.
It's gonna be a lot of season left. There's only like 30 plus games scheduled, and they haven't scheduled the second half of the season yet. But we'll see how that happens because the league is kind of falling apart right now with all the positive cases and all the postponed games. So we'll see what happens. There's probably going to be a lot to talk about as the season goes on. But, yeah.
One of my friends said it all. Lakers in 6. That's it.
We'll see what happens. But a New York-LA finals will be fun, though. I can tell you that.
Right. I mean, technically Brooklyn, but, whatever.
NYC, LA, yeah.
Fine, because the Knicks are never going to amount to anything.
Yeah. But anyway, on to football. The NFL playoffs. We went through wild card weekend. It was a crazy weekend, but now we're into the divisional rounds.
Mm-hmm.
We made some bets last weekend, and we only got 50% of them right.
I can't believe you gotta admit though, those were some crazy. Like first off, I took a chance on the Titans game. All right,
The Titans had their opportunities. They had their opportunities.
Mm-hmm. They were there and they squandered it so much. The Browns game though. The Browns game against the Steelers? Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah. But it's like you said, I'm kind of glad to be wrong about that. Like if we were right about everything else except that game, I would be like, all right, fine, whatever. That happens.
But that Seattle game versus the Rams. I guess like why I bought into Seattle so much is because they were riding a good offensive high entering the postseason, and the defense was improving week by week. I didn't take into account the fact that Jamal Adams was playing with, I think, a both fractured shoulders.
Yeah.
That the pass rush wasn't amounting to what it was. And plus, the Rams have the number one scoring defense and passing defense. And you're playing against Russell Wilson, who was really hot and cold going down the stretch of the season. So I didn't take that into consideration.
It's all good. It happens. All right. So the game's coming up. Tomorrow's game, 4:35, Rams Packers. Who you got, Juan?
I'm taking the Packers for that one, man. And
I know Pedro agrees.
I say that because look, Aaron Rodgers is kind of he is 0-4 in the playoffs when going up against the number one defense, which the Rams are coming into the situation. The difference between those last four teams and this team going in is that the Rams don't have all the offensive firepower that they need to try to get the job done. Cooper Kupp has been ruled out of this game because of a really bad knee injury he suffered versus Seattle. The only valuable weapon is Robert Woods as a receiver on the outside. The depth chart of the Rams wideouts is pretty lame duck to say the least. The only other good passing option is Tyler Higbee, the tight end, who's pretty decent when he gets out in open space. But it all comes down to the quarterback situation. And John Walford, who was the backup for the team and then became the starter after Jared Goff went down, isn't going to be playing this game because he suffered a stinger on Jamal Adams during the Seahawks wildcard game. And Jared Goff has 4 pins surgically instilled in his throwing hand on his thumb. So that ball's coming out all sorts of wobbly, And this Packers defense is, it's no scrub. They are hard hitting. They know how to stop the run, even though the numbers say that they allow the 4th most rushing yards in the NFL per game, and they have a top shutdown corner on the right on following the number one receiver in Jair Alexander. In fact, one of my hot takes for a sports podcast I do was that Jair Alexander is going to return a Jared Goff interception for a touchdown, and that the score is going to be 24-10 Packers.
Pedro, you excited about the game for your Packers?
Let me show you some.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no, he's breaking it out. Well, before he gets back, let's move on to the next division game.
What do you think? Huh?
Yeah, so Pedro has this character called Pac-Man where he dresses up in all Packers gear, even wearing that cheese head.
Nice. So he's all for the game.
Oh, essentially.
All right, so Ravens-Bills, who you got?
I'm going with the Bills on that one. Look, the Ravens have been enjoying a good amount of success coming down the late stretch of the season. They've been averaging 192 rushing yards per game, number one in the NFL. And Lamar Jackson is starting to look like the 2019 version of himself, the MVP version that we saw. But at the same time, there are still flaws to this offense. The passing game is still not there. There's no number one receiver that Lamar can rely on. Hollywood Brown is a bust as a wide receiver. Dez Bryant isn't what he used to be. And the only other tight end on the roster, Mark Andrews, he's good, but he can't be your own reliable option downfield. Now, I'm confident that Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, is going to be able to set up great run opportunities, especially with a backfield that has J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to help Lamar find opportunities in the running game. But at the same time, the Bills have a top-tier MVP candidate quarterback in John Allen that can put numbers on you. Josh Allen, excuse me. That can put numbers on you if you're not careful. All right, the Ravens defense has improved tremendously, but Josh Allen has shown that when he's under pressure, and the Ravens love to blitz, that when he's under pressure, he performs like a monster. Against the blitz, he has 18 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions. So even if you put people in coverage, Allen will burn you with his legs. He's basically like a Diet Coke version of Patrick Mahomes. That's what Josh Allen is.
So go ahead. Finish your thought.
I think it's going to be a run-heavy game, but I also do think that Josh Allen's going to turn the Jets on in the air and find Stephon Diggs in the end zone at least twice, and that the Bills come out of Buffalo with the win.
All right, so Sunday, the first game of the day, which I think is kind of a trap game in my opinion. Browns-Chiefs.
It is a trap game. It is a trap game. Look, all credit to the Chiefs for who they are. They are an offensive firehouse, man. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, and all the other receivers that are in the depth chart that are so good and so speedy. I can't even name them. Although
they're a little fat and happy right now, though.
They are, and you know what's even better? This team does have a weakness. They can't score in short yardage situations. Anything within the red zone, within 20 yards of the red zone, they have a hard time trying to score. That weakness was really exposed against the Denver Broncos of a few weeks back, and teams have been able to find ways to take advantage of it, and it has been glorious. And the Cleveland Browns, for who they are a tough ground and pound team that have a good passing game to supplement what they do. Baker Mayfield has shredded off the cape of being a scrub. He is showing why he was chosen to be the number 1 overall pick and the leader of the Cleveland Browns. The bravado is there. I'm liking the Browns' energy, the underdog energy that they're carrying in to Arrowhead, and I am calling, yes, sir, I am calling for a Browns upset on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Cleveland runs away into the AFC
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Yes, I'm calling for it, man. I'm calling for it, and even the score, it won't be too high, but it'll be dramatic enough that it makes a difference. I think I'm calling it to be 27-23 Cleveland.
All right, and this is kind of another trap game too. Buccaneers Saints.
Oh, yeah. This is the battle of old men. It's Tom Brady, 43-year-old quarterback, versus Drew Brees, 42-year-old quarterback. Today's his birthday. Happy birthday, Drew Brees.
Happy birthday. We love you.
So who you got?
So the Saints have swept the Buccaneers this season, won both games that they faced off in. That Saints defense has always been able to get pressure on Brady, and whenever you pressure Brady in the pocket, he makes mistakes. Yeah. However, in wildcard weekend, Brady went against what is arguably the best front seven in all of football in the Washington football team. He went up against Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, and Chase Young, three of the top defensive linemen in their league, and Brady kept composure. He kept balance. He played out of his mind. He threw for 381 yards as a 43-year-old quarterback. He threw for 381 yards and 2 touchdowns against what is arguably a top defense in Washington. And Drew Brees, for all the greatness that he is declining as a player. The obvious decline is there. And you can only rely so much on Alvin Kamara to make up for the mistakes that Drew Brees can no longer do, and Michael Thomas, for being the deep threat and all world-round receiver that he is he might be essentially the only option in New Orleans outside of maybe Smith, guy's name I can't remember. But I'm calling this a high-scoring affair. I say 35-31 Tampa.
Ooh, so you got some hot takes for this weekend, huh?
Yes, I do, baby. Yes, I do.
All right, so according to you, next week will be the Packers, Buccaneers, and the Bills, Browns.
Yes.
All right. Hey, Jack, I know you've been quiet for a while because we went on our sports rant. So you have any opinions on all this, on football?
No, not really. I actually have been trying to get my stuff together because I got to head out for work.
All right, man.
I'm going to dip out early. Have fun.
We're about to end anyway, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll stick around a little bit longer then. But yeah, no, I don't have much to add, only because I have nothing. I don't have any facts to back anything up that I say, other than woo sport.
Woo sport.
All right, guys, this will be the end of our podcast. Thank you guys so much for starting 2021 right. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna be on my way.
Nah, I gotta put plates away and get some work done. So this was fun.
Thank you so much for listening.
Hello?
What?
Sorry, I lost y'all for a second.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back next week with talking about Ma Rainey and whatever goes on in football.
Sport.
Woo sport! Woo!
Sports.
You never see it coming.
And...
To be dinner and run. God,